Hello and welcome to Glorified Gutsy Gaming. I am Jake, and today I am looking at my favorite countries to play in diplomacy. There are 7 of them. There's now, or has been for quite some time, an Asia map that I have not played enough yet to do a ranking on, but I've played it a couple times. It's pretty cool. But here, number 7. This is my least favorite country to play. This is Turkey. They are just so bottlenecked in the bottom, and they rely so heavily on working with Russia. Otherwise, it's quite hard. I have won while fighting Russia, but it requires Austria to work with you, which is a lot less likely. It's a lot harder to get done. Just don't like them so much. You can effectively be contained in your area the whole game, but if you get out of the bottle, you can grow pretty heavily. It's very limiting. And then number 6, also kind of limiting, is Italy, where you really only have one easy to access neutral, and your easiest ally is Austria, but it's also the easiest person for you to fight and take over to really grow. I've tried moving north to Germany, and it's not like it can't be done. It's just quite a challenge with Switzerland there. And Austria usually gets a little freaked out when I've tried. I've tried it like 2 or 3 times now, I think, and Austria always gets worried and then just starts fighting you. It doesn't really work out. But fighting France, I've had decent success with. And I've also gone over and fought Turkey, and that works fine. But you usually come in second to Austria or Russia or both there, and it's just you. I feel like you almost have to fight Turkey because France can come back at you pretty hard if they're uncontested. If you're working with Germany or England, France is probably fine, or if they're just otherwise pretty occupied. But Turkey is going to be your best bet probably, and it's a long game with Italy. And then number 5, this is England. I've actually done pretty well with England as a whole, but it does require a lot of fleet building and maneuvering. And then when you do want armies, it can be kind of a challenge to make those changes with the rules that you cannot transition compared to the new rules with the Asia map. But it is pretty interesting. I don't think it's a good starting country for somebody to learn on, and I've seen that evidenced quite a few times now. So, not a good one. And then number 4, this is Austria. I actually really dreaded playing this country for a while, and struggled. But I actually think that this one, especially if you play a short or varied game where you're only playing for a couple hours, and you play to however many stars you can get, I think Austria can be really good. I also think that they can be good long game if they succeed early. They can really work up and be hard to stop later on in the game. And I've actually quite enjoyed a lot of my games with Austria. Even when I didn't do well, I still found it to be interesting because you're kind of in the mix with everybody, and it still is fun even when you're not doing well. And then number 3, this is Russia, where I've also really struggled with Russia. Actually, I think Russia was the one that took me the longest to win because it's really hard to get out of the early game. I feel like you have so much potential, and you start with an extra star compared to everybody, but everybody watches you a lot harder. You look a lot bigger on the map. You've got more people to interact with theoretically than anybody else. You have England, Germany, Austria, Turkey. And that's quite a bit. I mean, Austria has the same number, but with less stars, and they're a little more condensed. They don't look nearly as threatening. Russia can get bodied pretty hard early, though. If you can get out of the early game, I think Russia has a really good chance of taking it, which is why it's this high. Because once you get over that peak, and you've really already done it, you're going to do relatively well. And they also have a bit of survivability where if they're being attacked by Turkey, they can kind of retreat into the north and be kind of defensive, and vice versa. If the north gets taken by England or Germany, perhaps, you can kind of retreat to the south. So they're kind of hard to finish off unless multiple countries are picking on them. So, interesting also. And then number 2, this is Germany. I know some people have said that Germany is quite challenging, but this is the country that I've done perhaps the best at with the least experience. So a lot of my early games were with Germany, I didn't have too hard of a time. I actually found the hardest challenge sometimes was which way to go, because everybody kind of seems to want to be Germany's friend from when I've played. And I've had games that ended just because after one country was eliminated, everybody was just allied so well that nobody wanted to fight me at all. And it's like I almost didn't want to fight anybody because things had gone so well with every ally that unless everybody's attacking you as Germany, I feel like you probably did something wrong or that was just preconceived. But Germany, I think, has a nice balance too, where they're kind of in the middle of everybody, but they do have a bit of separation from Italy and even Austria to an extent, that it gives them a little bit more flexibility on that and which way to go. And that leaves, of course, number one. This is France. I've played France in almost all my in-person games, and I've won more solo games as France than any other country by a long shot. And I kind of stopped playing them relatively early, just because I kept winning. It was a while where I had quite a few wins in a row, which was exciting. However, I found it to be relatively easy, and almost most of my games relatively felt the same. I don't know if that was just a winning strategy or what was working for me or timing or whatnot, but I've had the most success playing France. And when I'm playing other countries, I have a hard time stopping France. So I think France is easily my number one. But let me know what you think. I haven't done a lot of diplomacy videos at all, and I think that this is a great game that you could do recaps of, or battle reports, or however you want to phrase it, where it's really interesting to go look at it, especially playing online, or if you can take a picture of every year or every phase as the game goes on. It could be really interesting to talk about. I'd actually consider doing it with my game at Dice Tower East. I just don't have enough pictures. But yeah, that is the ranking. That is the video. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching. Bye.